Every day we have to examine the respiratory rate. So first day we will examine the respiratory rate of the baby, then color of the baby, and examine the baby's limb movements if they are normal, the limb posture of the baby, because sometimes in a difficult breech delivery baby may have some fracture also of the long bones, and baby's activity is noted if it is normal. Baby's feeding is also noted if baby can feed. Baby can latch onto the mother's breast and lactation is established and babies can feed, that has to be noted down. And find out if the baby's skin color is changing to icteric within 24 hours. Development of jaundice is noted down. What is a daily examination? Daily when you examine the baby, first you ask the mother if there is any complaints about the baby. Then examine the baby's color, whether it is pink or it is icteric or whether it is cyanosed. Then baby's cry should be noted, it should be a normal cry. Anterior fontanelle is to be examined to see whether it is depressed or bulging or normal. It can be depressed when it is dehydrated. Then baby's temperature is to be noted, rule out any fever or hypothermia, and ask whether baby has passed urine and baby has passed meconium. So bladder and bowel movement of the baby should be noted down. Also if the baby is feeding, it should be inquired into and how many times the baby is feeding. Every day this should be noted down, and at the time of discharge again examine how the baby is feeding, the lactation is established or not. Mother has to be taught how to feed the baby, especially prime is the correct technique of breastfeeding should be told to the mother. Then baby's cardiovascular system should be examined, eyes should be examined, and SpO2 is to be noted. If the SpO2 is below 90 degrees, then we need to do 2D echo of the baby. Eye screening report to be collected, and also baby's audiometry for hearing also should be done. And at the time of discharge, we have to advise regarding the feeding. Generally, the feeding advice is on-demand feeding for the baby, and whatever vitamin and iron supplements are advised by the pediatrician should be told to the mother how to give. Also, immunization schedule is to be explained to mother. Generally, BCG immunization is given before discharge, and the next visit appointment also has to be explained to the mother. Now, the basic care of the normal newborn is you have to check the weight. Weight will be lost initial days, and then baby will start gaining after maybe 10 or 15 days. Then baby's gestation age, accordingly we have to take care. Then also we should note 1 minute Apgar if it is more than 7, and then no active resuscitation was required, then generally baby will not have much complications. But we have to note the baby's mother, baby's temperature and glucose. We have to take one baby's glucose reading, blood glucose. And generally mother is healthy. If mother is healthy, baby will be healthy. The baby is dressed properly and baby is kept with the mother. Breastfeeding, you have to keep monitoring the breastfeeding, otherwise mother may develop certain complications like congestion of the breast or nipple fissures. So all these to be examined and appropriately treated. She should be advised regarding nipple care. And also burping is a very important thing that we should teach the mother. If after every feed baby should be burped, baby's head is resting on the mother's shoulder or whoever is taking care, and gently pat the baby's back so that the excess gas comes out from the stomach and baby can sleep comfortably. Advice regarding bath and oil massage, if required you can tell. Oil massage is the choice of the mother. Mother is advised to take 450 kcal extra and also extra fluid supplement. Cord care should be advised and immunization schedule should be advised. Now let us talk about the common problems. Common problems will be, first common problem is vomiting. If we give proper stomach wash, generally this vomiting is quite reduced, and if proper feeding and burping is advised, vomiting is generally taken care of. But if the vomiting persists, then we should rule out intestinal obstruction. Sometimes there is failure to pass meconium for 24 hours. We have to confirm that there is no imperforate anus, and in that case we should rule out any intestinal obstruction. Suppose the baby doesn't pass urine for 48 hours, then it is a matter of concern and we should rule out renal diseases. In case there is constipation, baby fails to pass motion, then we must rule out Hirschsprung's disease and anal stenosis. Sometimes baby may have diarrhea and fails to gain weight. Diarrhea could be because if mother takes something ampicillin or laxatives which gets secreted in the breast milk, the baby may experience diarrhea. And we have to see if the baby is bottle feed, these babies tend to be either underfed or overfed. So we should find out the amount of nutrition baby is receiving on bottle feed, and also they are more prone for infections. Some other problems are physiological jaundice. Baby may develop physiological jaundice on second day, and it may reach its peak by 4th to 5th day, and thereafter it will wane. So we should advise the mother not to worry about it. Also, we would advise to have serum bilirubin, and if it is more, then sometimes we may have to give treatment for the same. Sometimes the mothers complain that babies have more hiccups or sneezing or yawning. So this could be because after feeding, sometimes the diaphragmatic irritation can cause hiccups, and nostril secretions can cause irritation and cause sneezing. Sometimes there may be dehydration and there may be fever. So you have to find out that the clothes are not very stuffy and there is enough ventilation for the baby. We have to rule out some infections. Sometimes the baby will have secretion from the eyes. There may be eye infection, there could be skin infection, or there could be cord infection. It could be treated appropriately by appropriate antibiotics. The eyes, you have to put eye drops, whereas on the cord there may be a antibiotic powder which may be advised. Excessive cry is a very common problem. Baby may be crying for different reasons. Generally the common causes are that baby whenever hungry it is crying, or it is not well it may cry, and third thing, it may be having discomfort. The discomfort could be because baby has passed urine or baby has passed motion. Some other causes for the excessive cry is baby may be having full bladder, or baby may be having hard stools. Then sometimes it is because of abdominal colic, or it could be because of ear infection. Then because of the running nose, or sometimes baby is lonely, or insect bite, or baby may be bored. Even thyrotoxicosis will make the baby cry excessively. Then there is one unusual cause, maybe withdrawal syndrome, where if the mother is alcoholic and baby is used to that alcohol level in its circulation, after birth there is no alcohol, so baby may cry because of withdrawal syndrome. Sometimes baby will have cerebral irritability. So these are some of the causes of excessive cry. Some babies always cry in the evening, so this is known as evening colic, and they are treated by antispasmodic drops. Some babies have breath holding spells. Then some babies are excessively sleepy, and you may have to tickle the sole or tickle behind the ear to wake them up. But if the previously alert baby becomes very sleepy, then we have to rule out septicemia. Then some problems are because of the transplacental passage of hormones. Generally it is estrogen progesterone that may cause mastitis in the baby, which is known as mastitis neonatal. In a female baby, after 3 to 5 days of birth, because of this estrogen progesterone are not anymore in the circulation, there is a withdrawal of the estrogen progesterone and the baby may have withdrawal bleeding. There may be a spotting of bleeding vaginally. Some babies may have excessive mucoid vaginal secretion. Some other problems are there is a swelling on the head. It could be caput succedaneum, which is soft and boggy. It is not limited by suture line, and this is because of prolonged labor, and this is the swelling on the presenting part, and it disappears after some time. But there could be another swelling, cephalhematoma, where it is limited by suture line, and this is because of subperiosteal blood collection, and this is generally because of the obstetric injury. These babies are more prone for jaundice, and these babies should be treated for this cephalhematoma. Then babies may have sore buttocks, or it can be napkin rash. This could be because babies are given very tight nappies or a plastic nappy, this nylon which is watertight, and there is a delay in change of the wet nappies. This can lead to redness of the baby's bottoms, or there could be induration also, or there could be excoriation. So these are some of the problems of the newborn. Thank you.